And when you talk about American exceptionalism, folks, let's get this right. The reason America is exceptional, and it is exceptional, is not because we're better. It's not because we're better. If you know your theology, you know that every American has exactly as much original sin as anyone else in the world. With the possible exception of the French, I can't get into that. Just kidding. So if you know that in our blood, as Americans, we are no better, when you're talking about American exceptionalism, you're talking about this idea of freedom that requires virtue, that requires faith, and that faith requires freedom. This is a beautiful idea that never existed in the history of the world, and we need to take pride in that idea, and that's why I dare to wear red, white, and blue. But guess what? Anything that is of God, you know and I know, God didn't make it for you. He made it for you to share with anyone you could possibly share it with. God blesses us to be a blessing. He never blesses us just to bless us. He loves us so much that he blesses us, but he says, but if you love me, you will share your blessing with anyone. So the freedom we have in this country, folks, God wants us to share it with the whole world. Now, we can't force it on the whole world because you can't force freedom. I've covered that. But we want to live in such a way that the whole world says, what they have, I want that freedom. In my country, if I go to church, they'll throw me in jail. They'll torture me. My mother and father came from countries where they didn't have what we have in America. That's why they taught me to love America, because they remember what it's like to live in a country where you do not have what we have here. Is America perfect? I don't think so. But trust me, if you live in some other country, you're going to want to come here even though it's not perfect, because you're going to say, I got a shot there. If I work really hard, I keep my nose clean, I might be able to buy a house and raise my kids and send them to nasty universities where they'll learn all kinds of cultural Marxism. That's what happened to me. But then after that, they may hear the gospel and they may get saved. This is an amazing country, folks. But remember, we are blessed. We are blessed to be a blessing. So anytime, even when the president says, what does he say, America first or whatever like that, right? You got to understand, that's like when you're on a plane and somebody says, put your mask on first, then put the mask on the kid next to you, right? That's not about put the mask on first and let the kid die. It's put the mask on first so you'll be able to help the guy next to you. In other words, if we want America to be strong and prosperous and whatever, some people are just like it's all about them. But God says, no, I want you to be prosperous so you can share what you have, the ideas of freedom, economic freedom, every kind of religious freedom, with the whole world. You'll have so much economic might that you can tell China to jump in a lake unless they stop persecuting the Uyghur Muslims in death camps. And you can tell them, we don't need your trade unless you clean up your act and stop torturing Christians. You understand, if we're not strong as a nation, we have no leverage with satanic communist states like that. But our strength is not for us. It's to bless others who don't get to come to a church like this. They have to go to underground house churches. Jesus calls us to care about them.